Ragamala Dance is a company that does work based in the South Indian classical dance form of Bharata Natyam. It's an ancient dance form that has a tremendous creative capacity. It has a narrative aspect and a rhythmic aspect, and we are inspired by other dance forms, musical forms, art forms from around the world to create collaborative work.
Here in the Twin Cities, we perform both at the Southern Theatre and also the O'Shaughnessy. And then we tour all over the United States. We also tour abroad.
Ranee is not just my mother, but she is my best friend and my partner, my business partner, my partner in sharing something that we love. And we've always worked together ever since I was a child, studying together, learning, creating, talking. Sometimes I feel like we're two sides of the same person, but we're very, very different people. So we actually are very, we really complement each other well.
Aparna is my soulmate. I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing now without Aparna, because I'm like a wild waterfall, and Aparna has really mapped me out and taken me to places where it's concrete and things happen a certain way. I came to this country in 1978. I started to teach in the Indian community because there wasn't anybody who had studied Indian dance. Because until then, all the work we did was very, very traditional. So the Ragamala was formed to make Indian dance more accessible to all audiences. That was the original intent. The key elements of Bharatanatyam, we have two distinct aspects. One is nritta, which is rhythmic dance, where we interpret music through movement. We use our feet percussively and use the entire body to interpret rhythm. So we have 4 ways of interpreting. One is through usage of the body, which has 28 single-handed and 24 double-handed gestures. We have different kinds of walks. Then we have expressing through words, which is a very integral part of Bharatanatyam storytelling dances, because even though it has a very complex set of gestures, it's not a perfect language. It doesn't have grammar composition, so we need the spoken text or song. So each story has a particular emotional flavor, and we tell that story using the gestures and expressions and words and costumes and so on.
We are working on a piece called Ihara, Sacred Waters. The idea behind the piece is that rivers in India are very sacred, and each has a personification of a religious deity.
And it is about that in the 21st century, how pilgrims from all over the world come and offer the salutations to this mother goddess. And so our dancers go through the landscape, traveling to Haridwar, being in the city, how crowded it is, and they go up to the river and all the rituals that happen.
I would say there are several things that are very important, I think, to communicate in Bharatanatyam. I think at its just kind of most basic level, the technical complexity that exists and the capacity to create within it. It's such a rich dance form, and when you live in the United States, I think where there is a tendency to always be excited by newness and by things that are created kind of from nothing. I think there is something very, very important about history and about something with a tradition and something with a narrative, and I think all of those things are very, very important to move forward and to create one's own artistic voice. There is an underlying spirituality in what we do that is very, very important. And I think different choreographers might say different things, but for us, that's something that we strive to retain in every work that we create, because it is the the core, I think, feeling from which Bharatanatyam comes from. And for us, something that we feel so deeply when we perform, when we practice, and the way that we see this art form, we're very, very, very serious. It's our life and our passion, and I think so that spirituality is something that we strive to communicate, and people can interpret that however they like.
We're doing Indian dance, but it's only myself, Aparna, and Ashwini. My daughters are Indians. All our other dance company members are from here. They're American, born American women. And so you can see how when you see them dance, they have truly dedicated themselves to learn this art form, because they're not just learning movement. It's not like you can take anybody from any part of the world to come and dance with us. They have to be specialized in our style, and then they learn every nuance of worshipping a cow. They don't know anything about it. Ringing a bell, placing a candle in the water. When we teach, people, when you look at somebody else and they think, oh, we want to dance like that, and they try to do this, it doesn't work. We have to constantly mold them, saying it's not just a look. It has to go with everything. But it's the depth that they have cultivated through working with us for almost 15 years, some of them, and they dance beautifully. So we are very honored to have them as part of our company. Aparna has an amazing amount of joy in her dance, and she just exudes that. I have always been a very serious. I'm the fun person, but when I dance, I get to be more the spiritual aspect of it, or I become more serious. I dance because I love it so much. I've always loved dancing from the time I was a child. And this is kind of like a second opportunity for me, because in India, usually once you marry, you don't dance. But United States, coming to this country has given me this second opportunity. And I've danced more than I have ever danced in India as a child. So I hope, that I will continue to do, because I think dance is like breathing to me. I cannot stop either one of them.
I dance because it's what I love. And ever since I was young, I knew I was going to be doing this in my life. And we always talked about it. It was nothing that anyone ever pushed me to do. And I think that's really important, that if you just love something so much and you have someone to share it with, and you both love it together, and you see it as this, as we say, an ocean that you're never going to master, that there's always something to learn, it just, it makes you want to go deeper and deeper. So I just absolutely love it. I love who you get to be on stage and how you express yourself. I think if you can move somebody with art, it's a very special thing. And so that's what we aim to do. And if we succeed at that, then we feel like we've done a good job.